up, all my fight fans? So we got ourselves some interesting developments with the Jake Paul and Nate Diaz fight. It was scheduled 8 rounds. Now it has been moved to 10 rounds. 10 rounds. Now I do personally feel that heavily favors Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, we already know he is not a sprint fighter. He is a marathon fighter, where he is not going to burn all his gas tank in the first few rounds. He loves it when the fight is longer. The guy can literally fight all night if he wants to. He wants it to where the point where there is no time limit. It's just fight until the fight is done, where the guy cannot do it no more. And that is how Nate Diaz fights. And that's why I believe it favors him greatly against Jake Paul. Where Jake Paul, we already saw him. He struggled a little bit with the cardio. He did actually pretty good against Anderson Silva in the 8th round, where he was able to knock him down. But of course, we already know he went against an actual boxer, against Tommy Fury back in February. And of course, that did not go well for him. He ended up losing pretty much majority of the decision. He lost all the rounds and somewhat. Maybe he had a few good rounds here and there, but that was actually a boxer. Where Nate Diaz, he definitely trains boxing. He has trained with great boxers like Andre Ward, but he is not necessarily a boxer. He is an MMA fighter still. You know, I don't even know if he's had very many boxing fights. Maybe back in his earlier career, but this is going to be his first in a very long time. We know that for sure. But we already know Nate Diaz loves his hands. He loves training with his hands. He's always loved boxing. Always. That's been, aside from jiu-jitsu, that's always been what he's been expertise at. I always felt like he was by far one of the best strikers in the UFC, in MMA in general. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting, guys. Can Jake Paul's cardio hold up for 10 rounds? Because this is his first time ever entering the 10-rounder. He's always been 8 rounds, and he's had quite a few knockouts, and his last one was a decision, or two. His second 2 last ones were decisions, where he had a loss to Tommy Fury, and he had a win over Anderson Silva. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how his cardio can hang with someone like Nate Diaz, who is a pot shotter, who is constantly going to go in there and pick you apart little by little by little. He's not going to throw all his heavy shots. He's not going to try to knock you out. He's going to want to build up those points. He's going to want to tire you out. He's going to want to exhaust you. That's how Nate Diaz fights. And it's always fought. With Jake Paul, he is the bigger guy. He is the stronger guy. And so I believe he's going to try to use some of his power shots. Because if he lets this fight go close to 8, 9, 10 rounds, I believe that's where Nate Diaz gets the edge. So he is going to definitely do his best to try to get Nate Diaz out there early. He's definitely going to, he knows his cardio probably is not as good as Nate Diaz. Where Nate Diaz is a swimmer, a runner, a bike rider. He is definitely all those things where he builds up his cardio on his time off. You know, where the guy's always training. Jake Paul, on the other hand, maybe he does, but nowhere near Nate Diaz. So I believe that Jake Paul is going to have to try his best to end those rounds. His rounds that he's going to want to use is the rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5. And try to hang on the rest. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night. Long night. But you never know. This fight's coming up soon, and I can't wait to see it. Guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think the 10-rounder favors Nate Diaz, or do you think it favors Jake Paul? Do you think Jake Paul is going to end it early, or do you think this is even going to go 10 rounds? Let me know in the comments, guys. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.